Hi guys, it's Kay. Welcome to part 2 on how to get a placement. Thank you guys so much for the support on the first video, and if you haven't watched it, click here for that part. And without further ado, let's get right into it.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake, cause I don't fucking care.
So depending on what kind of placement you're actually applying for, you could possibly have to carry out some psychometric tests. So these are just like basic, well, somewhat basic tests on how you think, what kind of person you are, sometimes your mathematical ability, your verbal reasoning, your non-verbal reasoning. So just be aware of these. Always keep an eye out for the email that you gave as part of the application process, because this is what will be used to notify you that they're sending you these tests. And most of the time these tests will be like, okay, well, you have to complete this by a certain date, and if you don't complete it by a certain date, you'll get kicked off the process. So just make sure you always keep that in mind and always look out for those. So when you're actually doing these tests, try your best to keep your cool and practice. Like, the internet is honestly an amazing place. If you Google like most of these psychometric tests, you'll find so many other ones that you can do, and if you're actually really lucky, you can find the exact same psychometric test that the company that you're applying to is going to give you sometime. Definitely go ahead, try and find those and practice so much. And with the keeping cool, like when I was doing it, especially for the company that I was going to work in, it's like, I'm really good at maths. I do computer systems engineering, so I'm good at that. But with the psychometric test, I'll just be like, since most of them are timed, I'll be doing it. A simple question will come up. It'll be like, damn, Jimmy from Oxford has already answered this. This person's already answered this. Everybody else has already answered this. Oh, I'm probably like the slowest candidate. What is going on? I'm gonna fail. Why am I doing this? But yeah, honestly, just try to keep your cool as much as you can. You'll probably do fine. I honestly thought I messed mine up completely. Somehow I still got in. So you'll be fine. Just keep it cool and practice. So assessment centers, it's a common process in getting a placement. So while these can be very daunting, they really aren't that bad as long as you do your research. If you've been watching this, you know I keep on saying that is a key concept. You must do your research when you go to these things. So if you research assessment centers, you'll find out the common practices that they always have. Very key important thing is to be yourself, as in don't try too hard to be anyone that you're not. Main key in assessment centers is to see how well you work with others and how you can solve problems. Every company does have their own way of doing things, so they're normally looking for a specific kind of person. But even with saying that, this normally falls under being a good communicator, someone that can work well in a team and gets other members who aren't participating to participate. That's a very important one. So don't feel like you need to be that one guy that tries so hard to be the team leader. It's like, oh, I'm gonna answer all the questions. Like, you don't have to be that person. Be yourself. Try and see whether everyone's communicating. If there's someone in your team who's probably really nervous and isn't saying anything, just be like, oh, hey. Try and remember everyone's name as well. Be like, oh, okay, hey, Mike. Well, what do you think about this? Or how do you think we can solve this problem? Like, try and get everyone involved and just show that you're a good team member. If you've got that far, the next step will probably be an actual interview. Preparing for the actual interview. So sometimes you have two interviews. It could be a phone or Skype call first, and then you can have another proper interview. So when you've got this legit, like, this is the time to go full Sherlock Holmes. Research everything about the company. Like, just go there and just know as much as you can. Specific to try and learn is what the company actually does, products it may make, its business partners, how it competes against other companies that do the same thing, projects that the company is involved in, and especially trying to research the department that you are applying for and what they do and how they help the company. Also, know your CV and cover letter inside out. If you think about it, when you've applied, your CV and your cover letter is how they see you. So when you go there, if you know what you've written down, you have a good idea of what they think of you, so that can give you somewhat of a better idea of the kind of questions that they'll ask you. So another thing with your CV and cover letter, why it's also important that you know it like the back of your hand. Sometimes they'll try and catch you out. Like, I think it's a common thing that they'll ask you a question which They expect you not to know. So don't blag it. Like, they want to see your honesty. Do not lie. Whatever you do not lie. Literally, loads of companies like you for being honest. For one of my interview questions, I was being asked, how everyone in my group decided what they wanted to do in the group project. And honestly, in mine, everyone kind of chose individual roles. Normally, you would have people that will argue over a specific role, and they were like, really? Did everyone just choose their specific role and there was no confrontation? I was just like, yeah. They normally expect you to say, oh yeah, there was confrontation in the team, but then I stepped up and I was like, hey, no, you're doing this, you're doing that. And everyone worked very well together and we all got 90%. But no, just be truthful and say what actually happens. Like, because most of the time, if you lie, they're very good at spotting it out. Another good thing to avoid you having to ever lie is if you have any gaps in your CV. So what I mean by this, so say now you don't quite meet the qualification, or there's something missing in your CV, like dates especially. So say now I redid the first year of my AS, so obviously the dates for my AS and A2 are slightly weird because obviously that year out. So in your application, explain that somewhere, and obviously don't explain it as a weakness. Be like, oh, I was too retarded, so I failed my first year. Just explain it in a professional way. Oh, I realized I didn't get the grades I needed and I knew I could do better, so I redid it and I actually got better. So there's pretty much just nothing you can trip up on because you've already laid everything out there. So that's it for part 2. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below if this video helped you, and thank you guys so much for 1,000 views on my first vid. Hopefully part 3 will be up a lot sooner, and if it's been okay with you, it's been okay with me.